Welcome to the 200 movie challenge. Where basically me and Soda are trying to watch 200 new movies this year. So if you've been following along for the
Mhm.
ride, which not many people have, but we don't give a shit, that's what we're doing. So this is the full podcast. And Soto, we had a week break and we're back. We got 5 movies to talk about today. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting lot. This is probably our weirdest mix of movies so far. And I'm going to go first. And the whole reason I want to go first with my first movie is because Soto, I'm going to tell you this. This might be the shortest review I've ever fucking done in the movie. And I'm padding the time with the opening a little bit. So if you remember last time, when we talked, I
Uh-huh.
was on a
Yep.
little journey for the live action Disney's. And that was just because,
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
because again, I get it. There are people who say why are they doing this, and they instantly just call it shit without watching it. And Snow White came out 3-4 weeks ago and just bombed. I'm not going to go into any of the debates or anything. It just bombed. I'm like, how shitty can a lot of these live action movies be? Like, are they really
Mhm.
that bad? Are people just trying to be like, oh no, it's nostalgia. Like, you gotta sometimes have room for growth, and we've talked about a few on our channel from Roadhouse, but I've already done 2, like Mulan, and I looked at Aladdin, and I did say I wanted to see Beauty and the Beast. That was gonna be my go-to because I heard that was actually one of the best ones for the remakes. But
Mhm.
when I put on Disney Plus, something else popped up. I did not watch Beauty and the Beast, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll watch this instead. And this might be the last live action Disney movie I see in a while because I can't do this anymore. This might come back in a while, but I watched. It was from 2019. I watched the live action Lady and the Tramp. Part of the reason why I
Oh
selected
my
this
God.
is I watched this a lot as a kid. This is actually probably my mom's favorite Disney movie, and I'm talking about the old school 1955 one. Um, I've seen it. I like it. I'm not gonna say I love Lady and the Tramp, but I actually like the movie. It's a very wholesome movie. You got to remember going back for that time. It's very simple. It has one of the most iconic Disney scenes. We talk about things that have been parodied time and time, the spaghetti kiss, for lack of better terms, and so that in itself is a scene from Disney's, and I know we should do a podcast on this. That just people know instantly where that's from. It's been mocked time and time again. But yeah, I don't have a problem.
Of
So I'm
course.
like, I will see this movie. Soto, did you ever see the animated, Lady and the Tramp? I mean,
Of
honestly,
course.
yeah. If then you've seen
Yeah.
the live action. I'm telling you, Soto, because there is no fucking difference outside of 3 things, which I'm going to
What?
talk. So, we talked about when I talked about Mulan. I said, okay, Mulan wasn't a musical. They and I was
Right.
I and Mulan was one of my favorites. It kind of focused more on the action, more of the story. Yes, they added a couple things which they didn't have to, but I'm like, I will give them credit, and it was good for what it was. I'm like, that's fine. They remade it. They did it different, paid homage to the original while feeling original. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Then I saw Aladdin. Now, hard part is no one is gonna replace Robin Williams. That is an iconic role. It is very hard. And I know I bash Will Smith, but then they changed a lot of things in that. I'm like, ugh, I'm not feeling this. Like, a lot of the changes weren't good. The main actors
Right.
were okay. And I said they nailed a whole new world, like that whole scenery, the songs, they were fine. But overall, I'm like, it was just too much. Yeah, Soto, there's barely any difference. Like, you could show your kid either or there. That's it. So, but like I said, there's 3 minor differences, and I'm just going to share them and give my grade because there is nothing more I can say about this because I've seen this movie and like I said, I liked it. So I don't know how much you remember. One of the mine and all of them are minor. Nothing majorly changes the story. It'll just be like, okay, Lady has a couple friends. She has the Bloodhound next door, but also the little Scottish Terrier, who in the original was called Jacques. Male.
Mhm.
For some reason, they just made it female. Not a big deal. Jacqueline. Same Scottish Terrier, same story arc, just a female. Didn't change a thing, so I wasn't bothered by it. But I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know why they changed it, but I'm like, it is what it is. Um, Second, and this is probably the other one they had to change. Do you remember when the Siamese cats were introduced, Soto?
I was just gonna ask you
So
about the Siamese
so
cats. Yeah,
obviously
because that's
that song,
problematic.
that's which yes, I fully remember that song. I know I probably shouldn't,
Uh-huh.
but obviously because of kids, and well, they do the same thing, trash in the house, blaming it on Lady. The song is different, noticeably different, but the scene is the same. They wreck the house, their caretaker blames it on the lady, the dog, and then that's when they go get the
Hmm.
muzzle. So yes, they changed the song, but again, the original song and this was not big in the story. It did not change anything. So I mean, yes, I'm like, I realize it. I'm not going to sing that song because not that we would really get canceled, but I just can't. And then
Yeah, it doesn't translate to
no, it doesn't,
modern times. Yeah.
which is fine. That is kind of an understandable change, but again, it's a change that doesn't change anything about the story. Nothing changes. And the final thing is, if you remember in the original, the cartoon, she has the muzzle and they go visit a beaver, and the beaver actually helps her take it off. Again, it was a cute scene. In the and they like, oh, it's a free sample, blah blah blah, and the beaver keeps the contraption. And this, I don't know if they just couldn't make a live action version, but there was no beaver. There's just a statue of a beaver, and the tramp, the dog was like, here, just put the muzzle, here on the teeth, and they pulled it off. So I kind of missed that beaver character because he was hilarious in the cartoon. But again, he was only in that one
Yeah.
scene, not miss. So everything else outside of obviously talking animals, because they did have a real dogs and they had a CGI, obviously the talking, but certain facial, everything was the same. And this is the definition of a remake that did not have to happen. Now, don't get me wrong, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it because I enjoyed the
Mhm.
cartoon, but I'm watching it like as I'm watching, I'm like I'm just watching the cartoon, like I could just picture it. Now. If your kids haven't seen Lady and the Tramp, you can show them either or. If they're into animation, show them the animated one. If they're into talking animals, show them this. Same thing. But yeah, this is out of, weirdly enough, like there was nothing different. And that's when I'm like, this is the point of not doing remakes, because what they brought nothing new to the table. No new songs, no new scenes. Yes, the spaghetti kissing scene was just as adorable. The waiter and the owner comes out, did the song, which coincidentally enough, I laugh because he's appeared that guy from Roadhouse who keeps getting beat up by Jake Gyllenhaal. Is like, it's okay, man. I just want to write, like he was in it and he was hilarious. But overall, like everything was the same. And like I said, I
Yeah.
wasn't. I've seen it. I've seen it. And yeah, so where I rank it now, again, I did it. Like I said, I did like the original Lady and the Tramp, and I did like this.
Mhm.
Like I said, it was fine but it was the same thing. Like I was just like, the story was there, everything was there, but it is gonna kind of rank low because I felt like it should have gave me more enjoyment, something different. I actually put this. It's actually lower than I thought. I don't think I can move this because I just looked. I'm like, but it's right underneath Black Dynamite and above Aladdin. Now, like I said, if you
Okay. Yeah.
haven't seen Lady and the Tramp, you can watch either or. It's fine. But it's the fact that I've seen the cartoon and I did like it. Again, I say that this is one of their more wholesome stories. It's a very simple story. Any age can watch this. There's nothing wrong. But like I said, I've just seen this time and time again. I honestly felt like I could not count this because I'm like, well, we're supposed to be watching new movies, and I feel like I watched the same movie. That's
Well, technically, it's a movie.
I
It's
know
just
this.
yeah,
It's just like I
a
said,
remake.
but it's not like I said, even with Aladdin, even though I was bashing Aladdin, like I said, the least they attempted to do something new. They failed, but the least they attempted. And like I said, Mulan to me succeeded a little bit more because they said, we're not going to do the singing, but I'm like, oh, look at these karate scenes. Look at I'm like, this is great. Something different. I did enjoy the original more, but yeah, I just felt a little disappointed in this. This is just the definition of why. This was like, there was no point, and I don't even think this is in theaters. I think this went straight to streaming.
Oh,
But
really? Yeah, because I was surprised. I don't even think I've seen a trailer for this. I mean, what you're saying, it just sounds like this was completely unnecessary.
correct. Like I said, and again, I mean, if those who want to show their kids, just whatever your kids like, animated, live action, that's fine. It's just a different version, but there is no point. It's this, like I said, the Siamese cat story kind of had its song, excuse me, not even the story. The story is the same. Just the song had to be changed. And even I'm not going to say the song's just as bad, it's just not memorable. The song in the original is memorable, but it shouldn't be. So we'll leave it at that. I mean, every now and then I still kind of say it. I know I shouldn't.
Me
Like if I say
too.
that, like dun, 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 and I even do that little head bob. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm like, you know what? It was a different time. So yeah, no, this ranks very low, but it's not because it's bad. It's just it didn't give me anything
Yeah.
new. So
Wow.
yeah,
So
and
you're not
I,
going to watch any more live actions?
not
Like
for now.
that's it?
I need a break. There are some new things I've seen. I gotta cleanse the palate. I'm not gonna say I'm done with it. I just will. I just don't.
Yeah.
I need to revisit it at a later time. I watched three. I do still kind of want to see Beauty and the Beast because again, I heard that's the best out of all the live action remakes. And weirdly enough,
Mhm.
out of the '90s, that I don't want to say that's the worst one. It's just not my as favorite as like the Aladdin, Lion King. Like it
Mhm.
just ranks low just because I watched it a couple times. I just don't love it as much as the others, so I want to give it a chance. And depending on when Snow White comes out, I might give that a chance because I just want to see how shit that really is, and I just want to see
Oh,
if
it's not out
people.
yet.
Not on Disney Plus. It's in theaters.
I'm surprised.
It will. I'm sure some in a month or two it will be there. Just
Oh, for sure.
or I don't know. But either way, like I said, I know I want to take a little break from it, but I'll come back to this. I'll come back to Disney live actions. I know I will, just not as much as Succession. So, oh, but Soto,
Hey, you're a brave man. You're a brave man for doing the things that you did because my ass ain't watching Lady and the Tramp in a remake style. So good for you.
no, no, and again, I had no plan. I just went to Disney Plus, and it popped up on the screen, and I just stood there. And part of the other reason was it's under 2 hours. Beauty and the Beast, I think, is 2.5, and I know that's only 30 minutes. But I'm like, you know what? This is shorter. And I'm like, my mom loves, and I love the original. I've seen it so many
Yeah.
times, and again, I will never say it's a bad movie. Like I said, it's not my favorite, but I've seen a
Mhm.
lot worse too. It's for the time. It's one. It's good. But
Okay.
Soto,
All right.
my second movie I watched is actually your first movie, and that's kind of
Yeah.
why I wanted to get on this because when we started this project, I think early on I saw this kind of came out, and I knew I wanted to see. Like this was one like I was just curious. I was worried how good it would be, how shit it would be, but I was like, I kind of want to see this because I loved the original, or excuse me,
Mhm.
I guess I can't call this a sequel, but anyhow, me and you both watched the movie Twisters, starring no one that I can remember, and no one that I even know.
Whiskers.
Whispers,
Apparently,
whispers.
the dude is a popular dude. I don't even know his name. But the guy, the male lead, apparently is in a bunch of other things. But
Oh, I'm sure
yeah,
they are.
Twisters.
I just, if by not knowing a lot of today's actors and actresses, and I'm looking at this, his name is Glenn Powell. I don't know what else.
Wow, I
Oh,
already forgot his name. Just
I had to pull
as
this
soon
up.
as you said his
And
name,
actually, as
as
I
you
pulled
said his
this up,
name, I forgot.
no, I forgot just, and I, just said it. The only person I recognized was someone that came in later, and that was like the mom Mauritania. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her. That was
Oh
about it.
yeah, she
Yeah,
came out.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's anyhow. So Soto, but yes, you saw Twisters when you told me about this. I'm like, I
Sure
had to
did.
see this because this is only the third movie that we both watched at the same time for a review. We saw
Mhm.
Terrifier 2, which we have to continue that. Then the Menu,
We
kind of
sure
similar
did.
to this, because when you said you saw the Menu, I'm like, I have to see it. It was on my, it was on my list. So yes, I saw
Mhm.
this. So but Soto, I'm going to start with you, or why did you choose Twisters? And let's get your initial thoughts of the movie.
I chose Twisters because it was free.
We like that.
And I love that. It didn't have a long run time. I'm so boring when I choose my movies. I'm like, I wanted to watch something that was just gonna be just easy to watch, which I figured this movie was. I don't really have an attachment to the original Twister. I do. I've always been into storm chasing when I was a little kid. Loved tornadoes. Loved that whole thing. Um, so I remember watching the first Twister in the theaters and enjoying it at the time. It made tornadoes seem pretty scary, and thankfully, I don't live anywhere near tornadoes, so that's kind of cool. But I just wanted a movie that again, I saw it on the Amazon Prime top 10, and I said, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna give this one a chance. And you asked me what my initial feelings were watching this movie. Is that what you just asked?
I
Yeah,
guess, just what are your thoughts?
this is a perfectly fine Friday night popcorn movie. you put it on, you're with your significant other, and you put some popcorn on, and it doesn't ask a lot of you. The
Nope.
plot is very easy to
Hold on,
follow.
Soto. Hold on, hold on,
Uh,
hold on, hold on. I gotta explain this because I have this in my notes just for the fun of it. You said plot. Here is my quick plot synopsis for Twisters.
sure.
Tornadoes
Yeah.
hates Oklahoma. That's
Yes.
it. That's
Yes.
it. Anyhow, go on.
Yes. Well, I mean, they had the tie back into the first Twister movie, right, with the Dorothy like thing. Um,
Yes.
like the little Dorothy like kind of thing that they set up in there. So that was like the tie. I didn't know if this was a sequel or not to the original. I think pretty quickly I came in and I just had a vibe that it was more kind of a spiritual successor
Correct.
to the original movie because there wasn't really a lot of callbacks except for that Dorothy thing that went back to it. But it was a story of a young female tornado chaser, and she obviously the beginning starts off in a sort of unexpectedly, I'll just say it, but it starts off with an unexpectedly tragic way, and then the story really starts like as screenplay goes, and there's some callbacks to like YouTube or Twitch or not Twitch, TikTok kind of culture with these kind of storm chaser things, which is
Yeah.
kind of true because there was just recently a storm chaser group that just died, and their deaths were on TikTok because their truck went up into the funnel cloud and everything. You could see their lights, and they actually died. So this shit's real, but it had a plot. She was really into tornadoes. Then this thing happened, and then she was scared of going out in the field. But then she met somebody that like opened her back up to the idea of being who she was again. And
Well, but
so
also her friend came back because his whole thing was he wanted to kind of help the city. Like, if we do this, we can
yes,
help so this doesn't happen again. We can get rid of these tornadoes. And that was her initial drawback. Yeah, because she moved all the way to fucking New York City. She was being called the city
I almost
girl
did a
now.
spit take.
Um, at first, when I heard about this, I thought, because I heard rumors for a long time that they were going to do a sequel to Twister. I know a long time ago Bill Paxton was pushing for it. So when I heard about this, I thought maybe there was the possibility the small linkage is like this is the daughter of Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, which FYI no.
Oh,
You're
sure.
right. Because I was wondering if they're going to tie it into the first Twister. There is a couple small, like callbacks to it, like the Dorothy machine, the mom that does
Yeah.
Barbie, the family. So there's just
Yeah.
very few things. But
Yeah.
you're right. I don't consider this a real, true sequel. Like I
No.
said, it is a successor, which pays homage to the original one. But I'm like, this has nothing to do with the original one. There's no characters outside of tornadoes. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun enjoyment, but it was definitely a
Yeah.
lot of cheese.
I mean, it was, but we talk about it all the time. If this is on the new release wall, we've got like 300 copies of it
Oh, it's
on the
renting.
new
People
release
are renting
wall.
the shit out of this. Do
People are
not get me
renting this
wrong.
on a Friday, Saturday night. Like you put it on, it doesn't ask a lot of you. Um, and again, you could just watch this with your significant other or your family, and nothing sticks out. This is definitely a family movie that I could think of. I mean, there might be some violence with tornadoes and stuff, but it's a Friday night popcorn movie that you open up and digest. And I mean, I'll never have any reason to watch this movie again, uh, unless you feel like a different reason. I mean, it's just kind of like you pop open a can, it's got an instant movie, you watch instant movie, the end. I don't know. That's kind of how I felt about it.
No, and correct. And even looking at my notes, I just a few of the funny things. You talk about the YouTube guy. The bad boy of tornado chasing, and I'm
Oh
not
my
gonna.
god!
But so do I before we get to our grades or our ranking system, I did have to write down a quote that I heard, and I know you heard in this movie. Whether or not you remember it, I don't know. And it is when the main character is trying to get her, the main guy is trying to get her back into this whole tornado thing, and to get back out there, and he takes her to like a rodeo, and he's like, tornadoes, bulls, you don't face your fears, you
Oh
ride
my
them.
god!
You ride them, so
Yeah,
you don't ride a fucking tornado. No, I know he clamps on it. You get the fuck out. So yes, I laughed so hard at how bad that line was. Like I get it what he
yeah,
was trying to say, but it's just like tornadoes, bulls, you ride them. I'm like, what the fuck? No, You do not ride tornadoes.
I did like what she said in that sequence that it was not her first rodeo, being at a rodeo, which I thought was kind of funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was this movie is. I'm not mad at Twisters. I don't like because I watch plenty of movies and I'm just like, oh man, like I feel like a visceral anger towards like after they're done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at Twisters.
No, no.
Twisters does everything that it's supposed to do. Like, and it's if you're looking for a movie that you can not have to, not every movie has to be this fucking breakdown of spiritual experience. You know, sometimes you just want to watch a movie that's just gonna, like I always say, that's just gonna movie, and just do its thing and all that. I mean, and again, it was not long, so it didn't demand a lot of my time, which I love. Um, and if you have a thing where you like, watching tornadoes in a movie and you think this Glenn Powell guy's kind of dreamy, then go ahead, knock yourself out. I think Twisters is a perfectly fine way to spend a Friday or Saturday night.
So the question is, Soto, where do you rank this on your list?
Yeah, where do I rank this on my list? As I look at my list, I'm gonna rank it just below Beekeeper and above Kung Fu Killer. So this will be what? Is that 21? That spot?
Hold on. Let me pull up your list. I was on mine. Hold on.
It looks like 21 on mine.
Yeah, 21.
As I'm looking.
Maybe. Yeah. No,
I'm gonna mark it there. I mean, it did its movie thing. I enjoyed Beekeeper more, because it was fun and it made me laugh. But Twisters I think it's perfectly fine as my 21. I think that's a perfectly fine place for it.
So Soto, for me, and I know I have a few more movies than you do, but I have it low. I guess lower on my list as well. I have it at number 25. It's underneath Tag and above the Ninja Turtles. That's kind of where it's at for me. But for me, it's at the number one because again, you're right. I mean, you pop this in, you're gonna get some cheesy enjoyment out of it. It's nothing I'm ever gonna go back to. I don't think it's anything we're gonna talk about in a year or so. Just I don't know. There's no member. It's not like the first Twister. I will always remember out of the first Twister the cow scene. Just the cows in the tornado. Sure. And again, this is 96 Twister or 97 is cheesy as well. And then like a woman's like, oh, cow in the tornado. And 10 seconds go by. And then another cow comes back. She's like, oh, another cow. And Bill Paxton's like, nope, same cow. I don't know. That Bill Paxton delivery, I just always remember he's like, nope, same cow as he's just looking.
Bill Paxton being in that makes it a classic, like because Correct. He's in it.
Yes, he's a big reason.
There's nobody in this movie that I'm really good to remember. I mean, if I see that dude Glenn Powell again in another movie, I'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, the guy from Twisters." But that's it. I thought the female lead was fine too. I don't know.
It just was whatever. It was fine. It was just again nothing memorable in this movie. So hold on, I am looking. Hold on. Let's see what. Well, Soto, real quick. I'm not gonna. He was in The Dark Knight Rises, but. If we ever watched Top Gun Maverick, I guess he's in that as well. I'm just quickly looking at his list.
I watched Top Gun Maverick, and I can't remember him being in it.
That's on my list to possibly watch. But yeah, he doesn't have a huge filmography, but that one caught me. There's something called Anyone But You, but you're right. I doubt I know I saw The Dark Knight Rises, but I can't remember him. But anyhow, that's just something that quickly pops up. So yeah, Twisters. We saw it. Yeah, that's about it. We saw it. Not much more.
We saw it, and I'll never see it again.
Nope.
But I recommend it if you're looking for something that's free and you want to watch, and you got some time to kill. I recommend it.
It's a popcorn movie. That's really what it is. A good popcorn movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Soto. What is the next movie that you happen to watch this week?
So the next movie I watched was, I believe, 2014 movie Whiplash, starring J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this is my number one movie that I've seen this entire year. So
you're instantly putting it at number one.
This is the best movie. I'm not fucking around. This is the best movie I've seen all year. This movie had me from the very. J.K. Simmons, by the way, is an amazing actor. I love him in everything that he does. His character is very problematic in this movie, I feel, but the way that this movie just unfolds and the way that it turns out in the end was just for me, like, we've said it a gajillion times and I'll continue to say it again. The feeling that you have about a movie when the credits show up is 99% of the time how you're going to feel about that movie. Like, as soon as you see the credits show up, you immediately have an instant feeling in your brain was of being like, was this movie good or bad? Right? At least for
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and when the credits hit for this movie, I immediately was just like, this fucking movie was awesome. Now, the setup for it, is pretty basic. I mean, I guess it's basic, but the main character that Miles Teller plays is a jazz drummer um, at a conservatory. He's trying to be one of the best jazz drummers of all time. He really loves playing the drums. And then J.K. Simmons plays his teacher in this conservatory. He's an elite instructor. But he is way more like he just is a psychological horror to like work for as a teacher. Like he is just uses psychological warfare. He treats you like shit. He pushes you and all that stuff. And so the movie is a lot of back and forth between this kid and his instructor as far as what it takes to be the best at really anything. And as the movie goes along, you're just like, J.K. Simmons' character is just this fucking absolute asshole and is terrifying as a music teacher. But the way that the movie unfolds and then the ending, dude, like the last like 10 minutes of this film, like I was so enthralled with what was going on and just the evolution of this kid's character at the end, and then the evolution of the teacher and what he was trying to do this whole time. I mean, it was just fucking amazing. It was like a fever dream. And I just was not really expecting a lot when I went into the movie. But I think that this is one of the best movies about what it is about the artistic experience and what it means and what it does to you. Uh, that I've seen it in a long time. I don't want to say that I've ever seen, but that I've seen it in a long time. And it was just again, just the way that it all ended. I mean, there was definitely some unnecessary, well, what I feel like unnecessary parts, and I've thought about them as well, and I won't spoil it for anybody, but there's a relationship that I really didn't buy in this movie. But overall, I just thought that the impression that it left me with, I was just blown away. And I've had some time to think about it as well. And it's absolutely great. And I will watch this again, and I will buy this. But this is going straight to the top, full stop. Like this is the best movie I've seen this year, and it's probably one of the best movies I've seen. I would say this is at least within the top like 30 best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's funny when you were talking about J.K. Simmons, and I was trying to remember a few things. I'm like, he won an Academy Award because obviously a lot of people know him for, unfortunately, the insurance commercials, but he's done a lot of shit. He won. I don't know if you realize this, Soda. He won the Best Supporting Actor for this role. I had to look it up because, like, what did he win for?
Oh,
I
he
didn't.
did.
He did.
He had to have. Oh my god,
He
dude, it
won.
was
Yeah,
amazing,
I couldn't remember because I knew it was within the last.
dude.
I thought it was more recent. But he got nominated like 2-3 years ago. But yeah, so I'm looking right now. He won Best Supporting Actor for this role. So
Oh man, he was phenomenal. He was this movie, and again, his character is problematic and everything, but the performance that he had in this movie, dude, is just at points terrifying, at points soft and vulnerable. And dude, I was blown the fuck away by his performance in this film, and just the way that this film and the themes in this film about is it about drive? When you're like talking about art, like it's not about the art form that you're making. It's not about music. It's more about the drive to be the best and like what that takes out of you and what it means and everything. And that I think was the most important part and the most impactful part for me watching this. But this is definitely a movie that the next time I get a chance to buy it on Blu-ray, it's gonna be a movie that I buy because holy shit. That's what I said when the movie ended in the credits. I just was like, holy shit, holy shit. So yeah, this is my number one movie so far. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
wow, beats Godzilla -1. But Soto, I gotta throw this out here. Who would have thought
Yeah,
when we started this project? Now I know we're only 4.5, almost 5 months in, 4 months in, whatever. So I know there's still
yeah.
a lot more movies, but our two number one movies are Whiplash and Amelia Perez. Who would have thought? And
Both
again,
Oscar movies. They're
yes,
both Oscar
and
movies.
I would say one should have won more, but I'm not going to get into that controversy again. But yes, they are both Oscar winners and both good movies. But yes, I just think when we started this, we were like, we'll watch some movies and we'll see what happens. So I just like, man, because Lawrence of Arabia, you watch, which is a classic, which is
I
now number
enjoyed
three.
it.
Oh, yeah, nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
I'm just like, but these two movies that, within the last 10 years, see, we've missed a lot. So I'm glad we're catching
Oh,
up.
dude, I've missed so much, and again, thank God for the streaming services that we have. We make fun of disconnecting from cable, but now I have 18 streaming services, and I keep saying that, oh, it's free on Netflix. But thank God, because they'll come in and just be like, hey, this movie, and I'm like, oh shit, I haven't even thought about this movie, and then
Yeah.
I just hit play, and I'm just surprised because I had seen TikToks and memes of Whiplash, many times. Um, but I never sat down and watched it. And I sat down, and it was just a very visceral experience. And again, these are the kind of movies, and I think you're probably trying to make this point too, is that you run across a movie like this, and this is why we're like, okay, now we're catching up on the stuff that we should have, this whole time. So, because in 2014, I had no fucking idea about this movie. Fucking 2014, are you kidding me? I don't think I even moved into my apartment until 2015. So no, my brain was definitely nowhere near this movie. But movies find you when they're supposed to find you, and I'm happy that this one found me at this time.
So Soda, let's switch cheers. You found your number one movie. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say it completed you, but you know what? All of a sudden you're like, man, this journey has been worth it. But I got to ask you about
yeah,
your next movie because I am going to kind of spoil it for the people because I got to make a joke out of this. When you watched the first Paddington, you saw
yes,
on Paddington 2, which we kind of learned why this was said, but we didn't know in the
yeah.
moment,
No,
that
I did
Paddington
not.
2, you saw a comment that said Paddington 2 made wants
Yeah,
to make me a better man, and we had to
yeah,
know why. And you saw the first
hmm
Paddington because you needed the backstory of a talking bear, because
hmm
why not? But yes, you now watch Paddington 2, and I
yeah.
know now where this quote comes from, which I know you'll probably share with us. But Soto, does Paddington 2 now want to make you be a better man? Tell me. We know why you chose this, but tell me about your journey watching this movie.
Uh, okay. So I'll say yes. Um, to that, unlike Pedro Pascal, I did not cry throughout this entire movie. But it's Chad. It's definitely one of the best movies I've seen in a long time.
Ooh,
It's this it even if you don't like, I know you watch Wallace and Gromit and all that stuff,
of
but
course.
the character of Paddington is just, and the message that he sends and everything like that is just so universal and heartwarming. Using kindness, as a superpower. Like, Paddington changes pretty much everybody he meets, which we've seen obviously in other movies. But his whole like radical kindness thing is just done in a way that's not cheesy, and it's done in a way that makes sense. I will tell you that, and I will spoil it, but whatever, it's kind of a tease too. There is a time where Paddington goes to prison during this
Whoa,
movie.
whoa.
Now, I only say that because I know you would not expect that at all, but it's like, I mean, this motherfucker even changes the goddamn prison he gets sent to. Okay, like everything that Paddington does is just so wholesome and great and fantastic. And again, did I will tell you, I didn't cry during this movie, but at the end, I thought about it. I will say that at the
You got
end,
some feelings
at
from
the
this movie, is
end,
what you're telling me.
I
It hits
wasn't
you in the
expecting it
feels.
because I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I know this is great, and then like when it starts ending, and then the ending, I'm like, oh. Um, again, just to piggyback, it's Paddington again is living with his family called the Browns, and Paddington is from dark Peru. He's a talking bear for reasons. But he's gone to London. He lives in London now, and he's kind of, his aunt always wanted to go there, who's also obviously a bear. And so he starts off with he finds a pop-up book in an antique store that is basically a pop-up book of London, and he wants to send it to his aunt because she's never been able to get to London. He wants to be able to bring her the most authentic, version of London that she can. So it's like she can almost feel like she's there, but not really be there. So it's a really like a present from the heart. And so that really, starts the plot of the movie, right? Because of course there are reasons why he doesn't get this pop-up book very easily, and it explodes into this entire huge narrative, which stars Hugh Grant, by the way, which I wasn't expecting. And it starts this whole journey, and again, Paddington just continues to be just display kind of radical kindness. He doesn't learn anything in this movie. He just changes everybody that's around him. But it's not done in a cheesy way, because I know that saying it like that can make it sound cheesy. But it's actually done in a very authentic way, and it's done in a way that, really makes you believe it. And there's like really funny slapsticky parts and everything that would be great, overall for the family. But the message of this movie is absolutely fantastic. And just again, the whole idea of like the family that you find is usually stronger than the family that you were born into, which I love that idea because I kind of live by that. But yeah, it had a great emotional core. I thought that this movie, there was really nothing wrong with it. It just had a really great message to it, and again, it definitely made me feel some feels there towards the end. I wouldn't say like I'm Nicolas Cage where I'm like crying at the end of it, like Nicolas Cage does in that movie. But this movie was absolutely phenomenal. I wouldn't say, I think it was a little bit overhyped, but I do think that it does live up to the hype, 100%.
So the question is, where does this rank in
Yeah.
your rankings? Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume it's not your new number one, though it hits you in the feels at the end.
Oh.
But let's see. I mean, I'm gonna assume, is this better than the first Paddington at least? Where are we going with this? Because you have the original Paddington at 15.
It's better than the original Paddington. And Chad, this is my new number 3 movie that I've seen this year.
Oh, so this beats out Lawrence of Arabia?
It does. It does.
You heard it here, folks.
It really does. Do I want to be a better person? I'm not sure, but when I look at this list, Chad, I'm telling you, there are not a lot of movies that you're going to find that are better than Paddington 2. I agree with the Rotten Tomato score. I agree with the vibe of it. Like, it is a kids movie, it's a family movie, but the themes and everything, the emotional core are authentic and legit. The way it's done, everything, the way it works out. I mean, this is a really great movie from start to finish. And again, it's in my top 3 movies that I've seen this year. I can't say I'm putting it into number 1 because I didn't have the visceral experience, and I can't say I'm putting it above Godzilla because again, that was a visceral experience as well for me emotionally. But as far as, I'll tell you, Whiplash, Godzilla, and Paddington 2, of all the movies that I've seen this year, those 3 movies have elicited the most emotional reaction from me as a viewer. And so for me, that's why it makes sense for them to be in that top 3 for the year. So yeah, big week. Big week.
Not you, two in the top 3 and a new number 1. Holy shit.
Yeah. And it wasn't Twisters. Surprise, everybody. I'm sorry, but Twisters, I think, is where it belongs.
I would have bet on the fact that that wasn't going in your top 5, let alone top 10. But oh my god,
Paddington 2 is legit. It's got some legit shit. I mean, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a fucking good movie. It's a good movie. And I recommend it.
No, I was gonna say, to bring this full circle before we end this, because you mentioned Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm trying to remember. This had was it a 99% score? Was that how? This was a high score. Do you remember offhand what the score was?
I think if it's not 99%, then it's like close to it. And I can bring it up here.
I'm going. No, it is 99%. I'm looking at it right now.
I
that's
mean,
right. You wanted to know what and an 89% audience score, a popcorn meter. I'm assuming. Holy cow!
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is a good movie. Like, it's not. I mean, the first one, yeah, whatever. But this second one is good. It's got a heart. It really does have some shit. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but um, it's definitely it's great. And again, I hope that me saying that there's a part where he gets stuck in prison. Um, Dude, he gets stuck in prison and makes the fucking best out of it, man. Like, I can't fucking even tell you. Like, he's wrongfully accused and he goes to prison and he turns prison around. This happens in this movie. So, yeah, spoiler alert, everybody. I'm sorry, but even when you're in the most dire of circumstances, there's always a light. Like, is what this movie is about, and it's great. So,
All right. Well, Soto,
who else?
let's move on to our final or my final movie. Now, obviously, I talked early on about I was moving away from the live action Disney, and I saw Twisters because you saw it, and I'm like, well, it was on my list, so I kind of preempt that. But I went to Tubi, Soto, and I'm like, I'm just gonna
Uh-oh.
browse. I love browsing, because that we joke about Blockbuster. Like I miss, obviously even before I worked there, but just looking at the covers, just trying to figure out. But same thing with Tubi, Netflix, whatever. And I'm just like, what's something that's gonna catch my eye that I want to see? Something that's may not be on my mind. And somehow, Soto, this movie was on my suggestive. Now, I think it was just recently added. I could be wrong, and I'm gonna go right up front. It's Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. Now, why did this jump out
Oh
of
my
my
god,
eye?
that's right.
So, Soto,
Ah!
a few weeks ago, I think when we did the joke thing about we made April Fools, I picked a movie for you, you picked a movie for me. There's a
Oh,
comment
I
you
sure.
made, and you said if this movie ever becomes available, you're playing your trump card, your Uno card, and be like, Chad, you're watching this. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's the only reason I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? I had no plans of what I was going to watch. So I said, fuck it, I'm doing this. So before I get into my review, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
was this a movie that you said, like, you're like, if this becomes available, I am playing my friend card, like, you are watching this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So why was this movie? I have to know.
Well, so Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, and of course I have to say Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon every time I refer to it because it's produced by Barry Gordy from Motown,
Yep.
for no reason whatsoever.
I had to
But
look that up too.
it's a
I was
movie that
curious.
it's a movie I grew up watching as a kid. It was always on, and it was just one of those like cheesy kind of '80s movies that for me as a it made me feel seen because it was like not your typical kind of kung fu movie because everybody kind of was like looked like me and not everybody was necessarily Caucasian, and so that kind of spoke to me. So I felt like I was like okay, cool. And so um, I always had like that kind of nostalgic '80s affinity for this stupid ass movie. And then when I went to college and I went to film school, this was a movie that my buddies and I would put on, and we would just be drinking, and we would watch it like hammered and just scream the lines of the movie at the movie as we were watching it. We used to do the same thing with Karate Kid, the first one too. We used to always scream about Billy Zabka and everything, and look how that turned out. But yeah, I just had a lot of great memories about just making fun of this movie, and even when I was in film school, and we would, for example, we'd be on set sometimes for like 20 hours doing film projects, and we would make jokes about having the glow. And like, if I learned how to do a rack focus on a camera movement or a reverse dolly pull, I'd look over at my buddy and be like, he's got the glow. And so it was just one of those drunken movie quotable things that just came from the 80s, and it just kind of stuck with me. So it feels like a movie that for you should have seen by now because it was so 80s and so 80s camp. So, probably seeing it at this age without any sort of nostalgia is going to be. I can't ever be in that position because I can't look at this movie objectively. But, long story short, I feel like this is one of those 80s cult hits that, everybody needs to at least have seen or have been aware of because it's referenced a lot in pulp culture, more than you would think.
So the funny thing is, I'm watching this, and yes, this came out in 1985, and it was one of those things like, how have I
Sure
never
did.
heard of this? And I will be honest, a couple scenes seem very vaguely familiar to me. So I'm like, maybe I did
Right.
see this, but it's been so long and I don't remember. I'm still going to count this. Yes,
Mhm.
there's a lot of 80s cheese and, there's, gags. And, first of all, just eating popcorn with chopsticks. I don't know why. I died laughing at that part. He's just in the movie theater watching Bruce Lee film and he's just eating pop. I'm
Yes.
like, I don't know why, but all right. And
Bruce
then,
Leroy.
show enough and his gang just bust in and just, I'm
Yes.
like, what, people,
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking, people just want to watch a movie, man. What's going on? Yes. And
Mhm.
then I laugh because I'm like, hey, William H. Macy's in this? Chaz Palminteri? Ernie Reyes Jr.? Like, all of a sudden, I'm
Yes.
just looking like, again, outside of Chaz and William H. Macy, one scene. Like, like Chaz Palminteri seriously is a blink and you'll almost miss it. And William H. Macy
Mhm.
only had one scene. And then, yes, Ernie Reyes Jr. kind of, towards the end, kind of appears like, oh, yeah, he's going to fight with the Turtles in about 6 years. Uh, and then
He
Surf
was a big
Ninjas.
thing in the 80s.
Oh God, yeah, in the early '90s too. I mean, don't like I was about to say Surf Ninjas, but you know what? Yeah, I'm surprised I did not watch this as much as I did. Yes, there are some parts, and then it's so weird watching an '80s movie like this in your 40s when you really don't have much context and no love and nostalgia as you do. Um, it does start off. You can tell it's a martial arts comedy, and obviously I was all right. I'm all into that, and he gets sent on his mission, and then all of a sudden, I think it's like whatever 20 minutes in, for about the second. I don't want to say the second half or the second third, but somewhere like for 15, 20 minutes or so, this turns into like music videos. Like I'm watching MTV.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
That's
Where's
the Barry
my
Gordy part.
where's my martial arts? So really, that's important. Gary, excuse me, Barry Gordon part, Barry Gordy part. Oh my God, the
Yeah.
song
No,
that
trying to
says
sell music, you know?
yeah, the song that's like I sake to you, you sake to me, which I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, there is also. I mean, because we're talking about the drink, a guy in there that says. And I know I shouldn't repeat this line, but if there's one line that I was like, oh my God, he's kind of, he's training with, the lead guy, Leroy Green, and, he's doing all the over the top karate, noises, like, old
Mhm.
school Bruce Lee, but very over the top. And Leroy's just like, what are you doing? We're going to practice or anything. He's like, oh no, this is how I get people scared of me because people are afraid of Oriental dudes. Kind of like what I said in the last thing. I'm like, all right, this is a line. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
accept. But,
Uh-huh.
it is what it is. It was mindless fun. I think I enjoyed the cheese. So I will say, out of the 3 movies I saw this week, this is the best one, or at least ranked the highest. So I don't know, because
Well, I
again,
mean, I hope he ranked it higher than Lady the Tramp.
oh, it's over Lady the Tramp, and yes, it is over Twisters. But yeah, I mean, again, it's of the time. There's a lot of things. Just I don't know. Like I said, definitely better than Black Dynamite as well. I don't know why because that was the other one you suggested to me. But yeah, Black Dynamite didn't hit as well. This hit better, and I think this just had more of the '80s stuff. That was kind of my stuff. I wouldn't say this is as legendary for me as it is to you because you
But
watch
yeah,
this
you had to
every.
grow up to it. Like, I didn't fucking watch Sing. Like, I didn't even know Sing was a thing until you literally told me about it. And I was like, thank God Lorraine Bracco was in this. Otherwise, I would have fucking tuned the fuck out on this shit.
But yeah, so I rank this. It is at number 22. It is right underneath Terrifier. It is over Wings. Because again, I did enjoy a little bit. I don't know, Soto. I mean, unless we're in a drunken state and it's on and you're like, we're watching this. That's about the only reason I would probably ever truly watch this again.
Yeah, it'd have to be randomly on. That'd be a great, like, that's a great moment to think about in the future. You and I are randomly drinking and Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon comes on. Oh, that'd be great. I wonder what kind of situation that would be. But that's really, you're right. That's the only time that we would watch it.
I will say this because I know we can't do it on YouTube. I know people do it. I think it's on Patreon. Not that we are big enough to have a Patreon, but if we ever do, because that's where you can kind of charge people. If we do the extra videos that we can't show on there, we'll live react to Barry Gordon's because we can show that. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I obliged to your trump card, and that's why I saw it. I instantly was like, I have to watch this now. So, you know, 'cause he wants me to see this, and I had nothing else to see. But yes, I did, and like I said, it was enjoyable. I'm not going to search this again, but you never know. You never know our state of minds where I could
You've seen
watch
it.
this again.
You've
Yeah,
seen it. You can check
I
it
did.
off
I
now.
did.
You've seen
I
it.
checked it off. I put it in my Letterbox account. I will move on. You know, it's a new week. But yes, it is. Like I said, it's 80s. It's definitely 80s, and you know, not I'm not as nostalgic, but I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But yes, there were
Yeah.
just kind of like we talked about the gags and stuff. Just it's always the small things if you're not paying attention that I enjoy more. Like I said, I should not have been laughing as much as him using chopsticks on popcorn. And yes, the glow at the end, and I'm like, wow, that is a lot of glow for both of them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
watching this, a couple scenes came back to me. Like I felt like I might have seen it, but it was not embedded in my brain enough to where I'm like, I'm counting this as new. Like I said, there's just no, because I never checked it off. I do not remember this movie. When you said, I'm like, The Last Dragon, I'm like, who the fuck's Barry Gordy? And then had to look it up. I'm like, oh, this totally makes sense to me. Why?
Because I always
Reasons.
say Barry Gordy's The Last
Oh,
Dragon.
no. It's
That
on my
is
list
the
as Barry
entire title.
Gordon's The Last Dragon. I'm like, I had to. But so
man.
that's
It's
our
my
week.
confidence.
That is our week. You know, like I said, 5 very different
Hey,
movies.
we made it.
We made it.
We did it. We did it.
We got a new week coming. But so I thought something, you know,
Yeah.
towards the end of the summer. Like we're gonna give this,
Yeah.
you know, time. You know, when our list gets a little bit bigger and bigger. I thought, you know, I know we made each other watch movies that we saw this a few weeks ago. I think we need to do it again. But this time the rule is I'm gonna make you watch a movie that I've seen on this list. You know, that I've watched this year, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you'll, you know,
Okay.
something off your list because I already know which one I am gonna make you watch, and I will spoil it, and you're gonna be pissed at me. But I need someone to be angry about this movie, and no, it's not Under the Bed. Soto, I need you to see Beetlejuice. I need someone to be as angry about this movie as I know. And it might change depending on what I see, but I need someone to understand my pain. The reason this keeps going back, and I'm like, I need Soto to see this. I know it's going to make him sad. I know he's going to be pissed. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I need a movie. I need, like, again, I'm not going to make, you know, Under the Bed. I can't even think what else is on the bottom of my list. But like, Soto, I'm playing that card. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying in the future. It's going to come down to it because I need you to see, because I need you to understand why. Because I'm looking at it right now, Soto. Like I said,
I can understand, dude. I mean, look, I don't like Tim Burton, like, you know.
But you like the
I've
first
said that
Beetlejuice.
Sure, of course. Like in 1987, like yeah, absolutely. And I do like Tim Burton up to a certain point, but I think that I made it very clear what my feelings are in Tim Burton. And I actually asked Sarah if she'd seen Beetlejuice, and she was like, no. And I was like, oh, great. So that means like it's probably going to happen, and I know exactly what kind of level of shit I'm in for. I just hope it's not for a long time. How long does this movie run for? Like
I don't remember.
2.5 hours, right?
No.
I will watch it. I will watch it.
So, and I will say this: part of the reason is, I've been reading. There's a possible third film, which obviously they'll call Beetlejuice. So this movie's an hour 45. I'm just looking it up now.
Okay,
hour 45. So it's in, and oh my god, 75% of Rotten Tomatoes. Are people drunk? Are they high? Oh my god, no, that's wrong. That is so wrong.
We'll find out. Trust me. I'll tell you exactly how it is. You know.
And if you watch it with Sarah, I would love to know the dueling opinions because I'm guessing she might like it better than you, or maybe she'll find it as shit. I don't know, because I know she has more of a love for Tim Burton than you do. But so out of every film that I've seen that I need your opinion on, this is one because Jill's like because she heard it because we were recording on the PlayStation. She's like, it's not as bad as you put it out, and I'm like, yeah, it is. It really is. And I need you to feel my pain.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying like
out.
this week. I'm just saying, but if Sarah's ready to watch it and you watch it, then that trump card is played. That's one I'm like, and then you can pick one off your list and maybe something you've seen. Please not Lawrence of Arabia. I do not have time yet for a 4-hour movie. Not until maybe July or August.
I would not do that. No, I would not. I would not do that to you. I'd more likely put you to watch the Peanut Butter Falcon, but I have to think about it.
You
I
got
think Peanut
time.
Butter Falcon actually just left Netflix, so
I think it
no,
did
I
too.
mean
I
we'll
think I saw.
figure it
But
out.
anyhow, we got time, like I said. But
It's
I'm just letting
okay.
you know.
No one's sad.
All right, so
All
so
right.
before we leave and do our last thing, I'm gonna let you know also. You have officially watched 30 films. You just hit your 30th film with your last one today. I meant to mention that to you
Wow.
when you were reviewing Paddington 2. Paddington 2 is your 30th film. So
So
that's it
70 more movies to
for
go.
you.
We
And
still got plenty of time this year.
oh god, yeah, we got time.
70
We ain't
more
going.
movies.
We're not going anywhere. I think I'm at
70 more.
35. You're at
30
30.
movies.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, dude.
combined 61 new ones because yeah, we've watched 3 the same. Yeah, so yeah, you hit
Man,
30
it's like,
movies.
will I ever watch a movie again that I've seen already? I mean, I don't. I like this whole thing of watching movies that I've never seen. It is actually kind of something to look forward to, and I will tease. I've seen obviously a movie, earlier that I'll talk about next week. It's going to be quite interesting. So I do like because, dude, there's just like a never-ending ocean of movies
Yep.
that I haven't seen. And Tubi is such a great resource to watch it. There's so much shit on Tubi. Um, so I know we don't work for Tubi, but as a plug, if you are trying to watch a movie that you've never seen before, go on Tubi. I'll be checking out something there. This weekend I've got my eye on Chef, which I haven't seen, which stars Jon Favreau.
Oh, I like him.
Simply because they make a Cuban sandwich in that movie, and Cuban sandwich happens to be my favorite type of sandwich. So, anyways, I digress. But yeah, this has been a really fun experiment. So, and I'll probably continue it hopefully next year too. So, I don't know
Yeah, I
if
don't
it'll
know if
be
we'll
on
do
here, but
200, but if we keep doing our live stuff, we can kind of just have a
it's
segment
it's a
where
good habit.
yeah, just like all right, maybe one, but we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. Dude, we're not even 4 months in, so we got time. But anyhow, that will do it for
Yeah.
us this week. And as usual, until next time, just go watch some new movies, people.
Yeah, just hit play.